Welcome to K24 this morning. My name is Jeff Morte. Welcome to the show. It's 8 on the nose right here in Nairobi. And if you're just joining us for the first time, what we do in this particular point in time of the show is look at the big stories making headlines in your dailies and also discuss some of these pertinent issues a bit deeper. We have a very able panel to go through this particular discussion. As we do that, you might as well grab yourself a copy of your dailies as you get into these particular discussions. Don't forget, if you haven't gotten yourself your PD, you can get it straight to your phone. The number that you dial is star 550 star 4 hash. Once again, the number is star 550 star 4 hash. Dial that number and get yourself a copy of your People Daily straight to your phone. It's brought to you by the PD and Safaricom. You don't need any data for that. You don't need any mobile app for that. Just that magic number, star 550 star 4 hash. Dial it and get yourself a copy of your PD straight to your phone. It's brought to you by the People Daily and Safaricom. Let's get to it and find out what you'll be getting as you get your first copy of the e-paper this morning. Front page of the People Daily. Ruto's new gospel on BBI report. DP holds talks with Uhuru at State House as reports emerge he is not keen to lead a no campaign at proposed referendum as today's event to launch a collection of signatures is postponed. This is a story you can get on page 5 of your PD. And also in the PD, a quote from Dr. William Ruto. I love this country enough never to be part of any quote-unquote war. Not when there is a real possibility for a win-win consensus beckoning. An us versus them, yes or no contest that lead to a lose-lose outcome is unnecessary and unwarranted. That makes the front page of your People Daily this morning. The details of that therein. Also, finally, Huduma card is here. As you can see, this is a story you can get on page 2 on how it will be rolled out throughout the country on that particular process. You can find it on page 2 of your People Daily this morning. Also in the PD, Magoha pushes for medical cover for all students. NHIF says it is ready to provide insurance with some extra funding. That is a story you can get on page 4 of your PD. And of course, medical insurance critical right now as you look at the COVID-19 cloud hanging over the globe. And as Kenya is concerned, as of yesterday, the total caseload in the country standing at 72,686. That is another story you can get in your copy of your People Daily. Don't forget, if you haven't gotten yourself a physical copy, probably raining where you are, well, no need to worry. You can get it straight to your phone. Just dial the number star 550 star 4 hash and get all the details therein. On look at the front page of the Daily Nation now. End of ID card. Huduma card will be the sole digital identifier of all Kenyans in 12 months. Of course, they gave their short history of Kenya's national identification documents from the Kipande passbook to the first generation of ID cards, second generation plastic cards, and now as will be up until next year, December. That will be the deadline on that. And from that particular point, we'll now be using the Huduma card. This story is in your copy of the Daily Nation. You can find the details of that right there. Also in your Daily Nation, BBI reggae paused as Uhuru Ruto hold talks. Building bridges, they ask. The launch of a signature collection drive for national referendum scheduled for today was postponed indefinitely last evening, hours after President Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto held 3-hour talks at State House in Nairobi. What transpired from that particular discussion? Where do they go from here? Is a critical question, and you can find that story in your copy of your Daily Nation. We move it along to the front page of the Standard. Uhuru meets Ruto as BBI signature drive called off. President hosts his deputy at State House. BBI Secretariat sends night alert cancelling planned launch of signature collection, citing delays in publishing referendum bill. This story on page 9 of your Standard today. Also in your Standard, Huduma cards are finally here, says Minister C.S. Matiang'i and Mushero. Roll out cards in Machakos and Kiambu. Ask Kenyans to expect text directing them where to pick their documents. You can find that story as well in your copy of your Standard. And even as you look at that, of course, also a keen eye as far as COVID-19 is concerned. We have Governor of Nyeri, Mutahi Kahiga, talking about his experience as he fought COVID. That story is on page 4 of your Standard. And also in the Standard, 100,000 teachers to stay home as coronavirus bites. A leadership crisis is looming in schools as about 100,000 teachers who fall in high-risk age brackets may be forced to work from home following a directive from the Teachers Service Commission. Really unprecedented times, this one, and as you can see, some of the issues that even governments, and specifically in this one, the Minister of Education is having to grapple with in this post-COVID reality. You You can find that story on page 2 of your Standard this morning. And finally, front page of the Star, it's all about matters politics there. This from former Gatanga legislator Peter Kenneth, why Raila is best to succeed Uhuru. Ex-MP says ODM leader has been at the center of all struggle to make Kenya better. And he says there's propaganda being perpetuated against the BBI, and tells it all in your copy of your Star. You can get that story on page 4 and 5 therein. All the details of that absolutely to be found therein. And finally, front page of the Business Daily, Safaricom eyes debt for 51% stake in an Addis farm. Telco to borrow from Ethiopia, high entry costs expected to breach 100 billion shilling mark in order to make that particular acquisition. You can find that particular story and the details of that in your copy of your Business Daily this morning. But here, of course, even as we go through our discussion, it's all about this particular bridge. Is it a bridge to consensus? Is it a bridge to contest? That's a question we're asking right here on the show. We'll have it on your part of that particular discussion right here. Before I get to my panel, let's just set the stage for what is happening now. The much-awaited Building Bridges report signature collection exercise will no longer take place today as was scheduled. The newly formed BBI National Secretariat says this was necessitated by late completion and publication of the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020, which was to happen yesterday, a day before the launch. And as Martin Opio reported, the bill could see lots of changes introduced into the report, which as of now has no new signature collection date. Take a look at this story.
Murmurs over the document's imminent amendment has been rife despite a tough stand taken by the proponents of the document. Sources private to the document indicate that some of the demands raised by the Council of Governors would be included in the report. Also making a comeback, according to sources, is the Assistant Minister's position, who will be holding political positions. K24 has also learnt that the office of the Ombudsman might be dropped in the changes before the final document is presented to the public. The collection marking the start of a process leading to the referendum.
As pastoralists and those who come for the pastoral nation, there were some concerns which were raised, which we put forward, and we are very confident that they've been addressed. So we all march now in with the one beat of the drum. There is no, what is important that I think people should understand, that there is no perfect document. There is not. You will never get a perfect document. The only perfect book or can be, or the perfect document or book, is the Bible and the Quran.
Signature collection, according to Odinga, will take not more than 7 days. The Kenyan Constitution states that the process should not exceed a period of 30 days. It is expected that provincial administrators will play a pivotal role in the signature collection exercise. The signatures collected will then be taken to Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, a body tasked by the Constitution to verify the collected signatures. This is expected to take place before the year comes to a close. Thereafter, IBC will be mandated to send the bill to the counties, who are then expected to make decisions regarding the document. Once approved by at least 24 county assemblies, the draft will be delivered to the two speakers of the two houses, complete with a certificate of approval from the Speaker of the County Assembly. Should the bill be approved by the majority of the houses, the bill will be sent to the President for assent or be sent to a referendum if it touches on the protected areas of the Constitution.
The copies are going to be sent to all counties and to constituencies and to wards. And we want this signature collection to be done as quickly as possible.
Already a secretariat to spearhead the initiative has been formulated. According to sources, Raila Odinga's ally and Kisii woman representative Janet Ongera has been picked to co-chair the secretariat. With her is former Education Assistant Minister Kilemi Mwiria's wife, Sarah Kilemi. Also mooted on the list is Suna East MP Junet Mohammed and former Dagoretti MP Dennis Wawero. Martin Opio, K24.
Okay, thanks for that report, Martin. Of course, that also forms the basis of our question of the day as we move forward. Things have changed between then and now, of course. overnight a cancellation of this particular launch in terms of the drive for signatures. But where does this leave this particular process? We have a question for you that you can chime in on. Let's have it up on screen. Should the BBI Secretariat seek to include final amendments before going to a referendum? Is that what's going to be happening in this interim time? Should the BBI Secretariat seek to include final amendments before going to a referendum? The question of the day is that particular one. You can get us on the WhatsApp number at the bottom of the screen. You can also get me at I am Jeff Morte on Twitter or at K24TV. And let me get to my panel, of course, because we have a lot to discuss on this particular issue. In studio, every single Thursday, as we say, walks in with his signature Thursday swagger, probably singing a James Ingram song, governance expert Garbe Muthuma. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. By the way, do you know many people don't know James Ingram actually passed on? Do you know that? I think he passed on, I don't know whether it was the beginning of this year or last year, but he did. And,
right.
Quite a great guy, great vocalist. And, yeah, that's
it's
life.
Probably a slight generational gap. It depends on who you're asking.
No, I don't think so, because many people actually came to know James Ingram. You remember he did the Sarafina song, One More Time. You remember? And it was really the clarion at that particular, but yeah, you could be right.
Okay.
Nowadays we know kind of different, some other songs that we can't
talk about.
We can't talk about here.
Okay.
But back in the day, those were good songs. They
Okay,
talked about freedom and engagement into society and what have you. He was a great guy.
At least when Gabi isn't talking about matters governance, what he's probably listening to. Let's get to our panelists also joining us virtually, also joined by Senator Sylvia Kasanga. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning. Good morning to you, and thank you so much for having me on the panel today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for making time as well. Also joining the conversation virtually, we have Millie Luanga, another governance expert as well. Good morning, Millie. Millie, if you can hear me, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, I can hear you. I have a weak internet, it seems. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. We can also see you as well.
Thanks.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you for making time to be on the show. As we start this, I want to go just right around the table very quickly with what has just transpired, probably the last 24 hours. I'll start with you, Gabi, very quickly on this one. As of yesterday evening, we're expecting the launch for the signature drive to start today.
Yes.
A communique is sent out that the bill wasn't ready. We'll have to postpone this. And some people are looking at this, not believing this, because when you think about it, all this time, even as the Secretariat was being formed, they were cognizant that this bill hadn't been published, hadn't gone through the motions it should have. So why, in the dead of the night, send this communique that, okay, we've realized there's a problem, let's postpone this for a while?
Well, Jeff, on this one, I think all of us have been surprised together. Let me say that. The only thing we can do this morning, before we know exactly what transpired, is to speculate. And I don't think at this time this is something we want to do because of what BBI holds. I think the last time we were here, Jeff, we were discussing, this great document. And true to the fact, BBI is what you call, a collective response, that came from most of us. People, the Secretariat had gone out there and collected views of Kenyans, really what we want to see changed in this country. So I think moving forward, let me say this, moving forward, Jeff, it can only get better, or rather we hope it can only get better. Right. You had people who burnt the midnight oil, walked across this great nation of ours to, at the very least, try and change things to better Kenya. So I think I told you last time, the best we can do, Jeff, is to build on better.
Right.
What happened yesterday, we have to wait and hear really, were there any issues to do with legalese or what have you? Were there issues that did not sit pretty, that, had the document or had other people look into it or say before we move along, it is better for us to share? Was that what went on? We do not know. And that's why I said from the onset, the best we can do is to speculate.
Okay.
And I don't think this is the best thing for us to be doing at this particular moment. What I know for sure is that the minute we get that final report, forget about the 5 million signatures and what have you, what I'm concerned about is how will Wanjiko be governed moving forward? And I think that's what every Kenyan wants to know.
Okay, Senator Kasanga, I'll come to you on this as well, because some people are looking at this pause in terms of moving forward in terms of this particular process to collect the signatures as the blessing in disguise. It was getting really polarized, this particular issue of the BBI report, and this particular point after the pause is where, as a nation, we can sit down and recalibrate and think about how to move forward. What's your sentiment on what has just happened in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, thank you again. I think it's a moment to breathe for a short while. I believe it's a moment to breathe. I am privy to the fact that some constitutional revisions, again, have been made on the proposals that we had seen so far. I'm not fully privy on what has been amended specifically, but I know we are waiting for a new constitutional proposal bill proposed for us to see. And I think that is partly the reason why a delay in the collection of signatures has happened, because the publication of that new proposal is yet to be done. And I am hoping as it comes out, it has considered, the concerns that were raised. In fact, as members of parliament, when we met in Naivasha with the president and the prime minister, we did express our reservations, and we said, we don't want a situation where we are going to the ground to popularize this move of constitutional amendment, and we find hostile Kenyans. We need to really move together. The whole spirit of BBI is to carry everyone together, to build the bridges together. And if we can be in a space where the deputy president and the prime minister are also working together, it's a sign of serious good unity in the country, which is what really we need, especially in the face of COVID, in the face of Kenyans who are afflicted by COVID in all manners of, in all walks of life, from our economy to our health, losing our loved ones and the trauma that comes with it. The last thing we need is a highly politicized, divisive process of a constitutional amendment, which I believe is good and is a step forward as we grow up as a country, so to speak, politically. Now, one of the other things we must say, and we said this when we were debating in Parliament on the President's speech, on the issue of BBI specifically, we did say that chances are that you cannot get 100% consensus. It's highly unlikely. Even right now, the 2010 Constitution that we really enjoy only received at most, 65 to 67% support. And, it passed because of that. So it is highly unlikely you can get 100% or even 80%. But the issue is we have also to agree to disagree as we call ourselves a more mature democracy. So that is my view. My view is that we cannot all agree, but we must at least accept it's a step forward, and we always have to move a step forward. We always have to take one step ahead and say, we have improved on this, and things like that. I personally, I can tell you, some of the things I hope will still appear in the constitutional amendments have to do with the role of Senate. And unless we strengthen the role of Senate, then we cannot say, devolution is going to be strengthened, because we have to strengthen oversight of our governance. As you know already, we have such a big challenge. I am really hoping, and I hope that does not change, is, the 2/3 gender principle, which actually, as we speak right now, Parliament should have been dissolved because we had missed out on that in the last two parliaments. So I hope that still remains, because it resolves that problem once and for all, and we won't find ourselves in such a place.
Okay, Senator Kasanga.
The office of the ombudsman. Sorry, did you say something?
I wanted to jump in there very quickly and just take you back, because you said you were in Naivasha as they met that first time. And we remember on day one of that particular meeting, a very hardline stance was taken. We had from Minor Commander talking about no amendments, not a dot will be put on this particular document. It's moving as is. We got a series of tweets from former PM Raila Odinga on the same, that now we are moving forward with this particular document, just cementing the fact that the train has really left the station. What's so hard, because you are there in the room, just trying to make this, in terms of the spirit, all-inclusive, and that if you feel you have a reservation, there's still time to deal with this?
At the end of the meeting, the Prime Minister and the President did agree that they must look into some areas of critical concern. And that is why you have seen a lot of meetings still happening. I think you've seen a lot of meetings with the Prime Minister happening, of people bringing their concerns, with some key issues that are affecting them that they would wish to see, changed up in the proposals. So it was not a hardline stand as far as I am concerned, and from my experience so far, I can assure you it's not a hardline stand. And even as we speak, I am aware that there is a group of legislators and other key stakeholders that are looking into those amendments, and that is why you're seeing the delay that is coming out. It's really imperative, and I know the Prime Minister also really wanted that the process moves as easily and smoothly as possible. And don't forget, the country is also looking to save money. So we cannot ignore the fact that we are in dire straits when it comes to the economy. So if we can have a referendum process that will not cost the country a lot of money, then clearly that is the way to go, and that will gather support from all the heads up there, the Prime Minister, and the President, and the Deputy President. And truly speaking, I am happy, and we're not privy to what the Deputy President and the President spoke about for 3 hours. But I'm sure it can't have been a bad thing. I know it must be a good thing, and it must be a step in the right direction. And as usual, I'm a particularly optimistic person myself. So I like to keep that optimism so that, we don't polarize the country with, being a bit careless. Sometimes politicians, we tend to be careless in our conversations, and in the process, we really hurt Kenyans in some of, our words, our lack of trust, our, the mistrust, because you don't know what is being discussed. So you want to take a negative approach and view to it, and you quickly tweet, or you start speaking to constituents. We have to learn how to be a bit more positive, and to give the benefit of doubt that, of course, what the President and the Prime Minister and the Deputy President are doing is for the good of the nation, and we will be moving in the right direction. Okay, let me jump to Millie on this one as well, because even as it stands, Millie, the Secretariat, like I said earlier, sent out the communique and said that it was a couple of issues legislatively that kept them from, starting their signature drive as of today. But we look at the front pages of our dailies, Millie, and it's a totally different story. From the PD's front page, Ruto's new gospel on BBI report. On that one, you look at the Standard, Uhuru meets Ruto as BBI signature drive called off. And it seems like it wasn't a legislative issue, Millie. It was the Deputy President and the firm stance he took on this particular issue that forced them back to the table, so to speak.
Yes, and I think that it's a good thing that the President is trying to make sure that the process is as inclusive as possible. And I say this because he has made it clear his frustration with the fact that the Deputy President decided to turn court against the process that he had been involved in at the beginning. So I think that if there's a chance, as seems to be indicated from the newspapers today, that there may be an opportunity for the big three gentlemen to move us all together in one direction. Therefore, then we will have maybe just a smaller voice maybe largely led by civil society, who seem to be still very opposed to the process. Then we'll have a more unified process towards that referendum that we are hoping that we will have. I think that is a beautiful thing, because then the President's legacy would be that he tried to unify Kenya and tried to leave behind a united Kenya. And this would be just in line with what we have known of him. I still remember very vividly Jubilee 1 between 2013 and 2017, when all public appointments and positions were shared largely between two communities. And word in the grapevine had it anytime there was anyone outside that community, that was the President's slot that was being shared outside those communities. So we've seen him try consistently, not as much as we would have liked or preferred, but he's tried to bring Kenyans together. So I think that if he can use this small lacuna to be able to get the Deputy President to come on board, that would be good. My only concern is that the Deputy President seems to be a big trickster sometimes, because he says one thing, and then in a short time later, he seems to change a vote very quickly. Again, he has appeared BBI, he has said A, B, and C, and the next day he has gone out there and changed tune again. He has said he will stop doing certain things, and shortly thereafter, he does the same thing again. But he has also been consistent in some instances. For example, now stopping his rounds. But even as he stops his rounds, the visits to his home in Karen have not stopped. So we just hope that every player will be true to this fact, because I think the person who seems comes across as very consistent in trying to ensure that that the BBI process remains on course legally and procedurally seems to be the former Prime Minister. He is very consistent in trying to push the agenda forward. Even at the first time when everyone was asking, where is this team? He's the only one who seemed to be trying to push the team to come forward until his counterpart brother came on board. So we hope for the best. All we want is a united Kenya. There's too much pain in this country now with COVID, job losses, bad economy, with the health, frontline workers suffering. There's too much pain. We don't need more pain in a process that does not need to be painful.
Okay. This also will bring us to our first break right here on the show. Of course, keep your feedback coming in. You can get me at I am Jeff Mote, the WhatsApp number at the bottom of your screen as well if you want to chime in on the conversation. Frederick Okango saying, President Kibaki told us that the Constitution is the ultimate custodian of social will and its making should be accorded all due diligence. In my view, any effort to achieve this, as seen in the last 24 hours, is a welcome idea by the majority. Asante sana for that. We also have Kiroga Maina. Consensus is the only way. The rest are for selfish gains, which are not of any use to the common mwananchi. Keep your tweets coming. You can get me at I am Jeff Mote or at K24TV. We take a short break. We're back with more on the other side. And don't forget, you can get yourself a copy of your PD. Check out Ruto's new gospel on the BBI report, and you can get it straight to your phone. The number that you dial, *550 *4#, and you get it straight to your phone, courtesy of the People Daily and Safaricom. Back with more right after the break.